This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a 5 on a deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Adolis Garcia sends on the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall. And the legend grows. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season.
Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field.
It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, the world is a lot different in 2024 than 2023 between the A's and the Rays. Got some interesting notes on that. Turn me up just a little bit. We got a great show for you today. The voice of your Oakland Athletics, Ken Korach, is going to be by. We've told Ken on road trips he doesn't go on that we still miss him. So we want to have him on to talk a little A's baseball. So the voice of summer will be here at 1:30. And Eno Sarris, our national baseball columnist, will be here at 2:30. Eno sent me that great stuff about how to look at scoring runs. So a guy took all of the 2023 database of every single team and crunched all the numbers and came up with what's the best way to look at how to score runs. And a lot of things were pretty close, but there definitely was a top 5, right? There was weighted runs created, not weighted runs created plus. Weighted runs created, slug, on base, OPS. There was a top 5. It was very interesting. And it was a whole list of all the different things that we look at. The one that was higher than what I would thought, because everybody's tried to poo-poo it, was actually batting average.
What was it? It was weighted runs created plus WOBA.
WOBA was number 2.
OPS.
Weighted runs created.
Yeah, weighted runs created.
Which is different from weighted runs created plus.
Correct.
Weighted runs created, WOBA, slug, OPS, and then I think
on base.
On base.
Okay. Because I remember we looked up the A's where they stood the other day.
I will give you the exact since we're getting into it. It was weighted runs created, WOBA, and that's the thing. Like you look them up now, they want it. You look it up now, it's going to immediately take you to weighted runs created plus. You look at WOBA, like put it in. They're going to just put weighted runs created in, and the first thing you're going to see is like fan graphs, and it's going to say weighted. No, I want you to put weighted runs created in. It's going to immediately take you to plus.
Yeah, well, yeah, it tells you about weighted. Yeah, what it means.
This is not plus. Weighted runs created, WOBA, OPS, slug, and on base was your top 5. So a lot to get into with Eno Sarris. And, the one thing you can't do is money. Man, what a tough day for the New York Mets yesterday.
Ooh.
Losing a double dip to the Dodgers. Game 1 in extra innings. It is insane to think that the New York Mets, where they are, and no offense to my Mets buddies, including Karate Kid Ray, Mets are 22-32 and by far have the highest payroll in baseball. I mean, it's like, wow. So we'll get into a lot with Eno Sarris. I got to tell you, I'm very happy to be here today. I didn't think I was going to be here today. I was actually going to take the full day off, as later on tonight, my children are going to be graduating from high school, my twins. So my wife made me take Sunday off. We had a graduation party, and she was making me take today off. Until last night or yesterday, I was like, what time's graduation? Just asking. It's like, oh, yeah, it's not until whatever. I went, I can do the show. No days off, Bill Belichick. You thought you had this day off. Cody was going to the beach. He had his sunscreen, his lounge chair.
Well, let's be real. You got me out of going to the Oakland office. So,
oh, did it really?
Yeah.
I saved you today. So we're in business.
I miss everyone in the office. No
Because
offense.
to tell everybody, I never want to miss A's Cast Live. No offense to the pregame show, no offense to the postgame show. I never want to miss A's Cast Live. This is the show that we've been building, we continue to build, and we'll stand on this mountain together. So if I don't have to miss it, I don't want to miss it. Now I'll miss it like 2 days when I'm in Hawaii for the All-Star break, but that's it. Don't like to miss this show. Really cool thing. Oakland eyes its 8th series win in 2024. I've liked taking last season and like kind of putting it away. I don't like to think about it too much. We won only 12 series last year.
Well, I mean, makes sense. You only won 50 games. How many sweeps do we have? I don't remember. Oh, we swept the Brewers. I remember that because that was on the road trip after Pittsburgh.
We only won 12 series last year? That's mind-blowing.
I want to see how many sweeps we had. I think it tells you on Baseball Reference. I think.
How many times we got swept?
No, how many times we swept someone. I know Milwaukee for sure.
There's that one winning streak.
Yeah. That 7-game when we won 2 in Pittsburgh, 3 in Milwaukee, and then 2 against the Rays back.
We only won 12 series last year. That's crazy. I guess it's not when you only win 50 games.
Well, I texted you last night, and I told you again today. Yesterday was our 5th shutout of the season already. We had 5 all of last year. 4 of them this year on the road. A lot of credit give credit where credit's due to Scott Emerson and the coaching staff with the pitching.
Paging Dr. Scott Emerson, the great George in San Francisco, who owns that. How fast can you get that up?
Paging Dr. Emo. Towny.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So you look at like the Rays. The Rays, they have lost 6 of their last 7. They've only scored 16 runs in their last 7 games. Through 55 games last year, the Rays had an MLB best 101 home runs. Remember that? Rays were like the Phillies this year. And Phillies on a little bit of a slide here on this road trip. But the Rays, they got out like gangbusters. They have one of the best starts in the history of baseball. Whereas this going to be like the 84 Tigers? They had 101 home runs by this time last year. The A's, meanwhile, we got 69. We're 4th in baseball. So we've done like a role reversal from last year. We couldn't do anything right. And now the Rays, they just don't hit home runs like they used to. They don't score runs like they used to. So it's like a role reversal that we have between the A's and the Rays. Pretty crazy. And the Rays, they're in a situation to where, what do? You're 26-29. They had a good year last year, but lost in the first round to the Texas Rangers. Whatever happens, not my problem. I never count the Rays out, but I tell you what, getting a series victory against the Rays on the road and looking where the A's are, like if you won tonight and you're 24-33, just always keeping 500, you got to be able to see it. You got to be able to see it. Can't let it get too far away. And if you do that, you're now talking 65-plus wins easy, and you're talking about a dramatic turnaround in baseball. It's kind of fun to watch, and the Mason Miller numbers are just incredible. One of 5 qualified pitchers across Major League Baseball with 1,000% save percentage. Hasn't blown one yet. He has struck out 47 of 89 batters he's faced. That's 52.8% of all the guys that step into the box strike out against him.
Yeah, because even the game against the Rockies didn't strike everyone out, struggled a little bit. Then you got a little, how many people do you think got a little worried last time when he didn't strike out only struck out 2 batters instead of all 3? That's incredible. I mean, strike out over 50% of the guys you're facing. I mean, that's I don't know how many high. It probably doesn't. The notes probably don't say, and I haven't looked it up, but I wonder how many guys have done that in a season.
No way. No way. No way more than half the guys you face in a full season you strike out. No way.
I'll just do one guy more recent because Hader has a really high strikeout percentage.
More than half?
Let's see. One year he had 102 strikeouts. I had to find how many. He faced 224, so no.
You're talking more than half. I feel like I'm Allen Iverson. We're talking about practice. More than half?
He's come close a few times, like 138 out of 289. Like he's close, but Mason Miller right now is the guy. I don't know.
And this is at 52.8. We could, if he keeps this up, because there's going to be times where he strikes out all three guys he faces. We could be watching a historic year. 19 of Miller's 27 pitches have hit 100, boosting his total to 182 this year. Next closest guy is 87. He's almost 100 pitches ahead that are 100 miles or more. Miller has already thrown 100-plus miles per hour 182 times, more than any athletics pitcher in a single season, according to the pitch tracking era since 2008. Miller has topped out at 103 miles per hour 5 times this year, more than any other A's pitcher combined in the pitch tracking era. I don't know where that stands amongst other players. Aroldis Chapman. Who else is throwing like 104?
Reliever-wise?
Yeah.
Recently, he's the guy.
Didn't Jordan Hicks do it in St. Louis?
Yeah, he used to throw over 101, 102. There's not many guys that throw that hard.
Chapman threw 105.
I think he might have hit that once with the Reds. I think. This is back when he was throwing.
Can you imagine trying to bat against a guy like Chapman who kind of doesn't know where it's going at times and he's throwing 105 miles an hour? Like, literally, you go like, this guy could kill me.
You know what he's throwing now? Like 95.
Which is still really hard.
Yeah.
At his age, how old is he?
30. He's 35, I think.
There's a lot of mileage on that body.
He's another guy.
He's only 35. I would have said he's older. He's been around for
36. My mistake. I shortchanged him a year.
I thought he's been around even longer. He feels like he's 40.
I was trying to see what his strikeouts the batters faced. Yeah. He's close. Hader's was highest was 48% of the batters he struck out in a season.
50 to can he strike out 50% of the guys he faces? That's mind-blowing. Every guy coming up, it's almost like you're striking out. And it's not like you figure somebody out because you don't see closers that often as certain players. So we play less division games. So basically he comes into town and he's only going to pitch so much. Probably the number one thing, knock on whatever we can, he's been healthy. They've found a role right now where Mason Miller can stay healthy. But he's becoming must-watch TV. Like whatever town he goes to, and it just shows you the power of social media. Because how else would you know about Mason Miller? No one's reading the papers. I have no idea I'll just call it the St. Petersburg Times or Tribune, or what is the paper in St. Petersburg?
Tampa Bay Times.
They don't have a St. Petersburg?
I'm not sure about that. I just know the guy, Mark Topkin, who covers the Rays, works for the Tampa Times.
The Tampa Times.
Tampa Bay Times. Yeah.
If you're probably, people aren't getting the paper that age group in that neighborhood, maybe they do get the paper every day. No offense. But yeah, it's basically online or social media. He's become the ultimate sensation. There's no way they're not, and I don't want to even jinx this. I don't want to do it, but there's no way he can't not be in the All-Star game. They're going to want Mason Miller in the All-Star game, and they're going to want him pitching in the All-Star game. This guy is a freak. And freak shows, well, the circus lasted all those years with the freak shows. You want to see something that you've never seen before. You want to see something that just is wow. It's magic. How does a guy throw 103 miles an hour and pumping it, and then gives you a slider? He's much, as they used to say, it's must-watch television. He is. He's must-watch.
That's why I forget who suggested it, but like MLB Network should just cut in live every time he's coming in to save out to close out a game. I forget who. Someone we were talking to said that recently, but I've heard multiple people suggest that, and it's like that's not a bad idea if you're trying to grow Mason Miller in the exposure and people can see what he does. Like that's not on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram Reels. That's the way to do it, is to cut on if you're watching MLB Network. Then you're not locally watching it.
And I know this may not be popular, but I had this conversation with Dave Cavill. The A's have been in the national spotlight with a lot of negative light, but we've been in the national spotlight now for a long time. More than when we were winning 97 games and going to back-to-back playoffs. I mean, all the stuff that's been said about the organization in the offseason, now with Mason Miller, our organization has been at the forefront, good or bad, right? It goes back to the Howard Stern. Howard Stern was like, give me all the bad press I can get, just don't spell my name wrong. Because Howard Stern knew his ratings were so huge. I know this goes back. What was the movie called?
Private Parts.
Private Parts. And they knew, NBC knew, and then later he'd be CBS radio. But NBC knew that the majority of the people what listening to Howard, the people who hated him listened longer for longer periods of time and were more loyal listeners than the people who loved him. So it's crazy the amount our organization, the publicity, good or bad, we have gotten over the course of this offseason into this season, and now it's all about Mason Miller. I mean, Mason Miller, we are highlighted. If he pitches a game, we are one of the early games that they're going to show on Quick Pitch. I watch it every single night. I'm a P1, as they would say in the radio business for MLB Network. I am right up their alley. They got me every night. I'm watching Quick Pitch. I'm watching the highlights.
It's appointment television for you, huh?
Yes. You guys are watching whatever you're watching on Hulu and Netflix. I'm watching MLB Network. It's my job. So I keep up on everything. So I can tell you right now, like just off the top of my head, there's certain teams that you thought were bad who are red hot right now. You know who's hot right now? The St. Louis Cardinals. They're like 11-3 in their last 14 games. I don't even need to look at the notes. You know who also is hot right now? The Colorado Rockies, the rock pile who we just saw.
They did a funny thing. I don't think
the Giants are smoking hot. Bob Melvin and the Giants.
They won. Is that 9 of 11 or 10 of 12?
And they've been the comeback cardiac kids. They're just over. I mean, you know what's funny about the Giants? For as dramatic as they've had all these dramatic victories, and then you look and you go, oh, wow, they're just 29-27. They're still 5.5 games back. Dodgers had lost at 5 in a row. But you think of how hard the Giants have worked just to get 2 games over 500. Sad thing about baseball, and remind me about the Twins. Twins, I know in our world, or you're not going to say other than the sausage, the summer sausage, Twins are really a fascinating case in baseball. Remind me to bring that up. It's been a weird start. You want to talk about roller coaster ride. I mean, they've basically been like Magic Mountain. But we got some hot teams. And a lot of it, I'm telling you, you watch Quick Pitch and you do it every night, you'll see who's hot, who's not, what's going on in baseball. But with us, I'm telling you right now, because of Mason Miller, and we hit a bunch of home runs, we're usually on, it's usually top of the hour. We're usually on pretty quick. If Mason Miller comes in and closes a game, we got a star player. We have a star player. And how about Andujar? My God. How do you just find it? He found it. You can say it's health. But how bad do you want to see this guy? Please tell me he's in the lineup today.
He is, yes.
Now, I understand he's not going to be in the lineup every single day. We have to accept that.
He's playing left field again, I'm pretty sure.
Is he really? On turf 2 days in a row?
Let me make sure that I updated the lineup that's scrolling on the ticker there correctly. Yeah, Rooker's DHing. He's in left again.
Huh. Guy coming off knee surgery is 2 days in a row playing left on turf? Okay. But I've texted because a couple people in my A's world have texted me, and I've said this. Have Andujar in the lineup every day, and then as soon as he gets out of the batter's box, wrap him in bubble wrap. Keep him healthy. Figure out every single way. I don't know if I like him playing left field on turf 2 days in a row. I want to see him, but I understand he's not going to play I would assume he's not going to play every day, especially early. He's coming out. He just had knee surgery. Wasn't major knee surgery. Wasn't reconstructive. What was it, MCL? Did he have MCL?
I thought it was like
It was an ACL.
It wasn't like arthroscopic knee surgery.
Yeah, but you got to have surgery on something. Arthroscopic
I think it was
is
like
just the procedure.
Torn meniscus.
There you go. Yeah. Arthroscopic is the procedure, but you have to.
Right knee.
You're getting something. You get that, right? You're getting operated on something.
Yeah.
Something's got to be operated on in the knee. What was it? It was the meniscus.
Yeah, right knee. Meniscus tear in his right knee.
So, he just had that. So we're not going to see it every day. But we got some guys to watch. Rooker's still having a terrific year.
Toro's hitting again.
Toro continued. Now, Toro had what? 2 hits?
Yeah.
Looking at the book here, had a hit in the first and had a hit in the third. There's a story to tell here. And the fact that we only won 12 series, that's crazy. You win the series, you've won 8. And how about now taking on the Atlanta Braves after this? Because we won't be on tomorrow because it's a day game. It's a morning game. It's bacon and eggs. Vince Tocci, legendary producer of A's baseball, nicknamed it that. Bacon and A's tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m.?
10-10 first pitch.
Woo, boy. And then when we come back on Friday, it's going to be the Bravos. Big news. Did you breaking news sounder on who's signed with the Bravos?
I'm running the ticker, but let's go.
Live from the New York Sports Desk, I'm Chris Townsend.
According to our good friend Robert Murray of Fansided on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Robert Murray is a guy that breaks a lot of stories.
Outfielder.
Wait a minute. This is Jorge Soler-like. If you remember, the Braves acquired Jorge Soler, who's now a Giant. Why was it important that the Braves claimed Jorge Soler?
He was an outfielder to replace Ronald Acuna at power.
Why was it important? Have we forgotten already?
World Series MVP.
He was World Series MVP for the Braves.
Outfielder Ramón Laureano has signed a minor league contract with the Atlanta Braves.
The Razor?
Now he's in Atlanta. Back with Walter Weiss and crew. Not back, but he's with Walter Weiss, our good friend Walt Weiss.
I'll always love Ramón Laureano. When did we see him? I saw him recently.
Guardians, first series of the year.
Might have been, I know, but I talked to him. When did I talk to him? Might have been spring training. By the way, I am in the spring training garb today. Did you notice that?
I like the color of the shirt.
I'm getting ready for the graduate. I have a bunch of family that's here at the house right now. It's my wife's family. So if you're wondering why I'm doing the show on the day my kids graduate, they're all in my backyard right now. I'm like, I can do my show for a couple hours and get away from the family. Hey, it's time for A's Cast Live. No, I love my wife's family. I woke up today. It's a beautiful day in the Bay Area, right? Where we are in the South Bay. It's gorgeous.
It's supposed to be like 80 today, I think.
It's 80, going to be 80 at 3 o'clock. I thought, you know what? I feel spring trainish, so I put on the Mesa.
Isn't Memorial Day a lot of the barometer for a lot of people for the unofficial start of summer?
Yeah, so a lot of people started. The pool clubs start opening up
We used our pool at the old apartment the other day.
Well, when you live in a luxury apartment like you, it's the pool and the gym and the theater that's open year round for rich people like you.
I think my wife.
You Silicon Valley rich people, Cody. You should see the places Cody's lived at. It's like Club Med down here. If you like when I was single, if you would have saw the dumps I lived in downtown San Jose near San Jose State, dip cups everywhere. People are smoking weed. I mean, if you would have looked at my old apartments when I was single, they were gross. Refrigerator had moss growing in it. You're like
very apocalyptic.
You're like, I mean, the way I lived when I was young, living in downtown San Ho versus how you live. You live with a bunch of tech titans. Man, they look like your gym's better than 24-hour fitness.
Karate Kid Ray and his wife came down the other day, and they go, wow, your gym's way better than ours.
Yeah. You're in a luxury apartment. You should be paying a lot of money. Your pool. There's nobody like with quarters doing laundry. You guys are like high road.
I went through that the first time. My first place I lived at here.
You guys, I don't even know. I had to bust out the spring training hat and the spring training shirt.
We're talking about pools opening. That's why.
Yeah, I got that feeling. I got that spring feeling. But, okay, so Ramón Laureano. I love Ramón Laureano. I love Ramón Laureano because he is the kind of guy that I would have loved to play with. He was the kind of guy that showed up every day and talked about kicking people's ass. He had this thing with our grounds crew where he'd have handshakes and stuff, and it's like, I'm kicking somebody's ass tonight. That's his mentality. Ramón Laureano brought a mentality of, I'm coming to fight every night. We call it a football mentality. How about a boxer's mentality? He had this, he wanted to play the game with physicality. The way he would bust it out of the box and he'd take those big turns. I love the way he'd take that big turn around first base, and outfielders would be like, whoa, Jesus, you had to get it in. Because if you didn't, he would bust it to second. He played hard. It's like the total, you know what? Pedro Grifol will play this a little bit later. The Chicago White Sox are dogging it, and their manager called him on it.
They've lost, 7 straight now, I think, too.
Called him on it. You're flat. Listen, hustle doesn't take talent. Right? We're right here. We're showing you. We're not the greatest, but we hustle. We work hard. Working hard does not take talent. Showing up every day prepared, showing up every day ready to go, that doesn't take talent. And that was Ramón Laureano. Every single day. And I know the PED thing, that just sucked. It sucked. And it changed his career. He's never been the same since. But in the COVID year, when he took on the entire Cintrone, I'll never forget that Alex Cintrone was their hitting coach, and he was popping off. There's nobody in the stadium. I was like, when you go back to that day when Ramón Laureano went after the Astros dugout, none of us were there. We have a global pandemic going on. Millions are dying. We have this, we don't want players touching each other. We don't want players around each other. No fans in the building. They told us, hey, can you guys just do it from like it's a road game? Yeah, we can do it. Ramón Laureano said to hell with everything and challenged their entire dugout by himself. And that's the start. Do we have 27-man rosters or 28-man rosters?
I think it was 28, right? Then they do.
We had 28. More. It wasn't 26. Definitely wasn't 25.
And then there was a taxi squad too. So I think it was 28 with a taxi squad.
Poor Melanie Newman last night. She did a great. I think it was Melanie Newman.
Yeah, it was.
She did a great job last night being on MLB Network, but she kept calling it. Well, you're 25. It's not 25 anymore. But 28 guys. But then again, the Astros, a lot of them were on the field. He beelined, went right after their dugout. And they're like, what are you doing? Like the Astros, and they tackled him. And Ramón Laureano was going to beat the living hell out of Alex Cintrone. That's the kind of guy I want. That's the kind of guy I want on my team. So let me tell you something. I don't know how long Ramón Laureano is going to play. But I told him, I had a conversation with him. Might have been in the first series, or it might have been spring training because I did a game with Johnny against Cleveland over at Goodyear. Might have been that. I told him, man, you are a great A. This fan base loves you, and I always want you on the show. And Ramon was really cool about it. But Ramón Laureano's the kind of guy. Put it this way, if I'm in a bar fight, I want to be in that bar fight with Ramón Laureano. If I'm in a fight, I want him on my side. And if I'm playing golf, I want Ken Korach in my foursome if I'm in a tournament. Because he's going to come with some crazy handicap, and then he's going to shoot with his handicap. Hello, Ken Korach.
You nailed it there, Towny. I can't argue with you.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good, buddy. Good to be with you, man. How you doing?
Well, I told the audience, I said, hey, listen, on these trips that you're not going to be on, we start missing you, so we want to hear from you.
Well, I'm glad. It's good to be with you. It's good to see you and good to see the commander. So, yeah, I appreciate it, man.
So, A's, this is kind of crazy, Ken. You kind of forget how bad last year was. They only won 12 series last year. They win this series. This will be series win number 8. And we're going to see the roller coaster ride. But you're seeing, there's going to be the stumbles and there's going to be the successes. When there's some successes, there's a lot of good stories going on right now with the A's.
Well, like last night with Mitch Spence, right, Towny?
Yeah.
You get a guy that was a Rule 5 pick, and credit to the A's because he was the guy they targeted. They had the first pick in the draft, unlike the amateur draft. They had the first pick in the Rule 5 draft. And, yeah, I mean, he was really good at a time when they really needed it. And because you'd always kind of fear going down to St. Pete and playing the Rays. I don't think the Rays are quite the team that they've been the last several years. I don't think they have that kind of talent, but still, and they open the series and the road trip, he set a good tone doing that.
Yeah, the Rule 5 is such a great thing because there's certain guys that are in certain organizations that they're just blocked. And I'm sure the Yankees would love to have Mitch Spence back. We were down in Nashville with David Force. David Force, he was the last interview that we did because right after we were ending the show, and the reason why usually he leads off the winter meetings like a State of the Union, this time we did it because we were right by the ballroom where they were going to do the draft. So David came over, did our interview, and then left our table and went in and made that pick. And he was very high on the player that they were taking. We had no clue. Cody had 3 other names for him. He was laughing at Cody the whole time because he was not taking one of Cody's guys. And he takes Mitch Spence. And, wow, I mean, I know the narrative right now with a lot of people is, oh, my God, Ross Stripling is out and Alex Wood is out. But you know what? I don't know about you. I want to see Mitch Spence right now every 5 days. He did a great job in the bullpen. So did Mueller. But they've earned the right now with guys hurt to get a chance to play. I mean, would you agree with that? You want to see Mitch Spence right now every 5 days?
And Stripling and Wood, in all due respect, they weren't tearing it up, right? So, yeah, and he's young and he's controllable for a long time. And he's another guy that's a great example that you don't have to throw 98 miles an hour. I mean, it doesn't hurt to throw 98. But the slider and the cutter combination last night were just outstanding. So, yeah, and I'm sure David knew exactly what he was doing when he left your table there at the winter meetings in making that pick.
And the A's have a history with some good Rule 5 guys. I've been comparing Andujar, obviously not a Rule 5 guy, but I've been comparing him with a Rule 5 guy, Mark Canha. I remember our friend Shooty Babbitt always said what he loves about Mark Canha from seeing him at Bellarmine and seeing him at Cal and seeing him as a minor leaguer. Mark Canha always went up there to do one thing, damage. Andujar reminds me of that. What do you think so far of Andujar?
We talked about that the other day, I think, you and me, and that he's hitterish when he gets to the plate on Duhar. You just get the sense that he wants to do damage up there. He looks like a hitter, and he's really aggressive. And the ball that he hit last night, I'm not sure the exit velocity was way over 100 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
So he wants to swing the bat, and that's where, you can find guys. And, it's interesting, too, because the Pirates aren't exactly loaded, and they let him go. He didn't play that much in the big leagues last year for them, but when he played, Towny, he hit 300 in September. So it wasn't like he was, hitting 210 or 220, and they didn't protect him on the, they didn't offer him a contract after last year. So he was available. They put him on waivers, and the A's picked him up.
Ken, I think a lot of people just don't realize that most players start to come into their own. Most, but not the great players. Great players, they're good really early. A lot of guys have a very short window. It usually happens around 26, 27, 28, somewhere around, and they're going to have a couple good years, and that's it. That's just the reality. Most guys don't have 10-year, 15-year. That's a rarity. Maybe, just maybe, when you look at Rooker, maybe, just maybe, when you look at Andujar, these guys aren't going to have long, illustrious careers catching lightning in a bottle like most guys, and the A's can ride these two.
Rooker was another guy who was let go last year, and the A's picked him up, and anybody could have had him. The other thing, too, about Andujar is that, he had 27 home runs and 92 RBIs in his rookie year with the Yankees. So that was a long time ago. That was 6 years ago. But if you can go after a guy that you believe is healthy, who's dealt with injuries, I mean, the thing that really derailed his career was injury. He might still be playing for the Yankees if not for that, Towny. I think he has that kind of talent. So if you can identify someone like that, and I think, you need – Ken Maka used to talk about this, that you need guys who impact the game. And I was thinking about the Royals quite a bit recently after the A's played them on the last trip, where they don't have a great ball club on the field. Now, they did a good job adding, starting pitching, right? Seth Lugo and Waka have really helped them, and they've helped their bullpen too. But they have two guys who can really impact the game on the offensive side of things, and Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez. So you need guys who can impact the game. And I think there's a chance that Andujar could be a guy who can really impact the game for the A's going forward.
Did you mention Ken Maka?
I did. Yes. We do that fondly, Towny.
Are you going to talk about his truck in Pittsburgh? Playing Munich golf courses in Pittsburgh?
That's not a bad Maka.
Well, I've learned it from you.
Back and forth a little bit. I don't do a great – Vince Cotroneo does pretty good Ken Maka.
Korach's playing country clubs, and I'm at the Muni at Pittsburgh.
That's pretty good. I like it.
You think about Andujar, 23 years old, play 149 games for the Bronx Bombers.
Mm-hmm.
He had 27 jacks, 92 RBIs. He hit 297.
Yeah.
Not 212, 297. He had an OPS of 855. Cody, OPS plus is?
Anything over hundreds league average, or anything over you're above league average.
His OPS plus was 130. The Yankees really thought in 2018 at 23 years old, they have found something really, really, really special. It makes you really feel bad for Andujar because after that he played 12 games in 2019.
Right.
Only appeared in 21, 2020, COVID, so 60 games, only 21. Yankees still are hoping 2021. He only plays 45. I mean, he just could not stay healthy. I mean, and I feel bad for him, but maybe this is just kind of a blessing that the A's are going to get a guy that maybe this guy really is super legit. It's just injuries killed him.
Well, early in the 19 season, because you mentioned only 12 games that year, because he was diving into third base in April and tore up his right shoulder, tore up his labrum, and he tried to play through it. He didn't go on the IL immediately, I don't think, Towny. It was a while ago. And he went, after the injury, he went something like 5 for 34, right? And then finally, it was obvious that he had to go on the IL and eventually had surgery. So, he tried to play with it. But, I mean, they need it. They need offense. Let's face it. He was a third baseman back then, by the way.
Yep.
And we asked Mark Kotze about that. They said he's not going to play third base for the A's. He might play a little bit of first if they want a right-handed hitter in there at first base. But primarily a left fielder, he might see some DH time as well.
Yeah, I said earlier, and I said last night on the postgame show, I want him to hit and then put bubble wrap around him and then take the bubble wrap off and let him hit and then put it back on. We got to do whatever we can to keep this guy healthy.
And Daz Cameron, I think, is kind of an interesting guy, too. And you're looking at like another bounce-back candidate. He doesn't have the track record of Andujar from that great year with the Yankees and even the small sample size we talked about with the Pirates last year. But, I'd like to see Daz get some at-bats as well.
Funny you say that, Ken, because his dad, Mike Cameron, is he a broadcaster or does he work for the Mariners?
He's like a special assignment guy for the Mariners in their player development department.
Yeah.
I don't think he's broadcasting, but yeah, he's working for him. Yeah.
Yeah, he put out on Twitter today he's not happy with guys that get called up and don't get regular at-bats.
Well,
I doubt he's talking about Mariners personnel.
No, I think that's directed just where you might imagine Towny. I didn't see it. I mean, yeah, Mike was a great player, right? I mean, what a phenomenal center fielder he was, and a really good ambassador for the game too. I watched a little bit of the Mariner game last night, and I think even the day before, and Dan Wilson's doing color with Dave Sims this week on their games, at least in this series against the Astros, the great catcher for the Mariners. He does a good job on the telecast, by the way.
Very interesting. Well, the whole thing about Cameron is yeah, it is tough. It is tough when you get called up and you do some good things and then you don't play. It's tough for these guys. And, there was a great conversation last night that they were having on MLB Network about the Orioles. The Orioles have now run into a wonderful problem. They've got so much talent. You only got 13 position players, and you got to have 2 catchers. Yeah. So it's like we're now – okay, so you really got like 13 position players, and we got all these guys, and we got more guys coming up. And, because they're talking about, hey, they got bullpen problems. Do they go trade for bullpen? They've got – Mason Miller got brought up, and they're like, well, David Force is going to want your top guys. There's some places they've got a lot of talent, but you just wonder when certain guys – come up and do well, it's kind of tough. You do well and not play.
It's like spring training too, right, Towny? It's like if guy has a really good spring and then he doesn't play that much when the season starts and the weather is cold and you lose all that momentum that you had coming out of the spring when you were swinging the bat well. But listen, the job of Mark Conce's job is, as it is for any manager, is to put the best team on the field that he thinks that he can field that day. And like Maka said, the players make out the lineup. But that's another Maka-ism. And he's right. Remember, like Tyler Nevin. Tyler Nevin might have been his best all-around player up until, the first week in May, Towny? Because we talked about him. He was playing a lot of positions. He was hitting great, going the other way. And all of a sudden, he just scuffled so badly that they had to let him go to make room on the roster. So, it's tough when you're a guy like Daz, who's been kind of a journeyman. He had parts of 3 years with the Tigers in 2021, 2021, and 22. He doesn't have a regular job with the club. And you don't want that to become a self-fulfilling prophecy, like where you're not playing and then you don't produce. So you've got to play enough, hopefully, to stay sharp. But that can be a tough deal.
Mason Miller has kept the A's in the national spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about this a little bit earlier. Obviously, there has been, when you just talk about publicity, good or bad, the A's have been in the forefront of a lot of publicity in the offseason, spring training, leading into this season. We've been at the forefront of a lot of news, way more than other teams. And now, and that's all because of ballpark and those type things. Mason Miller's keeping us there. Like every single night, when he plays, we're one of the first teams they're showing highlights on MLB Network.
For good reason, right? I mean, he's must-see TV. It's great. And I think he'll be an all-star for sure, right, Towny?
Oh.
There's no way that they're not going to pick him, assuming, barring the unforeseen between now and then. But you want him in the all-star game. And I think MLB had a list of the best players in the game right now at every position, like the all MLB team for the first 2 months of the season. And he was on there along with Emmanuel Clase as the 2 closers on the all MLB team. Now, who would have thought that going back to spring training? So it's great. And the other thing about him is that he handles it really well. As you know, you've had him on the show, had him on recently. And he handles all the attention. He does it not only professionally, but with this humility, I think, which is great. So he's embracing the moment, but it's not getting to the point where it's putting too much pressure on him, all the attention.
Well, I'll tell you what, the stat that really just wows you, he is striking out 52.8% of the batters he has faced.
It's like the home run percentage of the A's runs scored. It's the same thing.
Like, I don't know. Like, we looked up Hader because Hader obviously struck out a lot of guys. He never did it in a season. We've got to look up. Has anyone done this in the history of baseball? Obviously, you have X amount of innings, X amount of batters faced, but what a remarkable feat that could be. I don't know if we've ever talked about it, where you struck out more than half of the batters that faced you.
I'm sure it's happened, at least for a partial season, like for Mason, just past the third mark. The other thing is that we focus so much on his fastball. The slider is a great pitch. I mean, there are guys that throw 100 and don't have the kind of success that he's had. So the command of the slider, I think, has been, it doesn't make headlines like the fastball. He hit 103 last night, as you know, Towny. But I think the slider is a great pitch. And you just see hitters, they can't swing the bat because they're so focused on the fastball when he throws the breaking ball.
Yeah, it's breathtaking. I mean, it's just to watch a human being be able to throw this object that hard. And the fact that we know when you start really getting into the science of it, these guys, the way the brain works and the body works, and there's just not enough time for the hitter, for the brain to tell the body swing. It's crazy.
That's why the numbers are drastically different when batters face like 97 plus. The other thing is he's been durable so far. I mean, he's answered the bell, I think, every time they've wanted him to. He threw a lot of pitches last night, right? And I would not expect him to be available today. Maybe he will be. We haven't talked to Kotsay, obviously, yet, but I would doubt that he'd be available tonight. And you'd understand that for sure. He was up close to, what's like 27, something like that, 27 pitches last night, I think.
Well, I can tell you exactly, Ken Korach. Mason Miller had 27 pitches, 17 strikes.
Yeah, and he throws a lot of strikes too. The other day, I think it was the Orioles called up a kid from the minor leagues that was throwing literally 100, but he walked everybody. So it doesn't matter if you're throwing 100 if you're walking everybody. So I think one of the reasons that he's been able to pitch as often as he has is because he throws so many strikes. So he's had games with 16 pitches and 13 strikes. And that's really what you want to see.
Yeah, we now know it's like we have, with technology, with everything that we have, we put such an emphasis on throwing strikes. I mean, if you're not throwing strikes, it's a glaring weakness. So Mason Miller, as a pitcher, he knew he had to throw strikes. So he's got that mentality in him. I want to end on this. Mark Kotsay, you talked to Mark Kotsay a lot. We're now in the third year of Mark Kotsay managing. What have you seen, and how have you watched him grow as a manager and as a leader?
Well, I think any manager will tell you that they're going to be better in their second year than their first year, or third year as opposed to their first year, or maybe in some cases with their second job or third job. And hopefully Mark stays with the A's for many, many years, because I've talked to him a lot about how, I hope you get a really good club to manage someday, because you can't judge Mark and his ability as a manager based on the previous two seasons. And I think every manager just kind of, you come into your own, you grow into your own skin, you feel more comfortable. And the other thing about managing, Towny, as you know, is it's a lot more than just X's and O's and writing out a lineup and putting guys on the field and the strategy during the game. There's so much more that goes into it, especially now with all the analytical information and dealing with the media every day. So I think he does it with a great deal of professionalism, and I've really enjoyed those interactions. And I hope that, and I think this club is a reflection of him in a way, because whenever you ask one of the coaches about the team, and they've listen, they're 10 games under 500, but they've surpassed expectations so far, I think, in the eyes of many people. And the coaches point to Kotsay. So he has great leadership, not only with his players, but with the coaching staff as well. So, by the way, I have a theory to run by you on why the hitters aren't doing as well this year. It's not just velocity. Next time we chat, I'm going to lay that theory on you and see if it holds any water in your eyes.
Well, we have Eno Sarris, the analytical guru, coming up here at 2:30.
Ask him this.
All right.
I just thought about this. I was having lunch with the great Mike Lefkow and Glenn Schwartz yesterday, and talking some baseball with two old Bay Area baseball writers. And I think this could be, and Eno could dispel this in a heartbit.
He might back it up.
He knows a lot more about this stuff than I do. And the average hitter is hitting like 238 now, something like that, right? The other day on Sunday, there were only 5 qualified hitters in the American League batting 300 or better. The advent of interleague play. In other words, you play 15 series every year in the case. Well, they just have the natural rival with the Giants, so play them, 4 games, 2 series. So let's say roughly 15 series every year. That's a standalone series. That's the only time you're going to see that team. So you're only going to see that starting pitcher once during the whole year. And bullpen-wise, you might only see a guy one time, maybe at the most twice in a 3-game series. And they always say that the advantage is with the pitcher when there's less familiarity. Like if you're seeing a guy for the first time, it's not advantage hitter, it's advantage pitcher. So to me, maybe the advent of interleague play and the fact you're seeing teams only one time for the whole year might have a small part to play in the fact that batting averages are down now that you're playing all these interleague series. Now, that's just my theory. Eno might say I'm full of baloney, and I can accept that if he does.
Well, familiarity, right?
Right, exactly.
I mean, you have less games in division, so it's facing the same guys, pitchers, hitters, less. You're going to see like Tampa. You're going to see Tampa one time on the East Coast, one time back here. You're going to play the Cincinnati. You're going to play everybody, right? Padres, Reds, Braves. I get it.
But interleague is just one time. It's one series, right?
I mean, versus like the NBA, you can have back-to-back. Like one night the Warriors are taking on the Lakers up here, and then they're down in Staples Center playing back-to-back games.
When I started in the American League in '92, it was a totally balanced schedule, Towny. You played 2 series at home against a team and 2 series on the road. So that's 4 series against everybody in your league. And, of course, there was no interleague play at that point. So you can see a starting pitcher 4 times during the year. 3 times was not unusual. You're at least going to see a guy twice. Odds are maybe 3 times. So anyway,
well,
that's my theory for the day for you guys.
There's something to be said about that, because I remember we were in Mark Kotze's office getting ready to do the Mark Kotze show, brought to you by nestbetting.com. Love where you sleep. And we were talking, I think it was at the Marlins, and we're talking, Mark Kotze holds up that book that has all the numbers, and he's like, you got a bunch of Marlins players and you got a bunch of A's players. These guys never played against each other.
No, you don't know. You don't see them even in the minor leagues, right? Because some of the teams, like you might get a little bit of information if you see a guy or two in the Coast League or maybe a little bit in spring training. But the Marlins, they just don't see those guys at all.
All righty, my friend. We'll test that theory out at 2:30.
I'm curious to hear what Mr. Sarris has to say.
Thank you very much for your time. It's great to have you on. And the next time we see you, we'll be back at the Coliseum.
Thanks, guys.
The Hall of Fame voice of your Oakland Athletics, Bay Area Radio Hall of Famer, the voice of summer, the great Ken Korach here on A's Cast Live.
I looked up a couple things while Ken was on.
Oh, wow. What do you got?
League batting average is 240, so he was pretty close at 238.
He said 238?
Yeah, and the Mason Miller. 4 guys have done it. I'm including Devin. I put batters faced at least 100. 4 guys have done it. Well, Devin Williams did in the COVID year. But if you don't want to call it, there's 3 guys have done it 50%.
How many guys did he face?
In the COVID year, he faced 100 batters exactly.
60 games, man.
So we'll do 3. 3 guys have done it, and it's all recent. Craig Kimbrell did it in 2012. He struck out 50.2% of the batters he faced.
What, 52.2?
50.2.
Oh, 50.2. Okay.
Aroldis Chapman in 2014 struck out 52.5% of the batters he faced. He had 106 strikeouts, and he faced 202 batters. Edwin Diaz did it 2 years ago 50.2% of the time.
So right now, Mason Miller's ahead of all those guys.
Correct, yes.
So he's at a record pace. 52.8% of all the batters he faces, he strikes out.
Yeah, and I put the minimum at 100 batters because there were guys around there that face like 14 batters.
Who's to say he doesn't up this pace?
Yeah, for sure.
We could be having a record season here. Now, how many innings what did you put, 100 batters?
100 batters faced, yeah.
How many batters has Mason Miller faced?
Let me go back to that. Mason Miller so far this year has faced 89 batters, and he struck out 47.
How many guys did Edwin Diaz face the year he did it?
235.
Okay, yeah, there you go. That's a legit.
He struck out, yeah.
What was Kimbrel? How many?
231.
Yeah, that's so. Hopefully, Mason Miller will get to 200 batters, and then we could be talking about. I guess we might have to educate people on this. Like, hey, this is kind of like a record season for Mason Miller.
It's pretty remarkable, to be honest.
Yes, like you come up, you get out. Next guy comes up, you strike out.
Oh no, let me also qualify. I put 100% of their games as a reliever. There's no starting pitchers in there. It's all relievers.
There's no way a
starting because they face so many batters. So I made it all 100% relievers.
The guy could do that. He'd break Nolan Ryan's record.
Yeah, the only time you'll see it is someone came in and pitched and struck out 12 batters and faced 24 in a game, and there's your 50% right there.
Ken Korach just threw out a theory. It's interesting.
I think so too. Actually, I never thought of it that way.
All right, couple things I want to get into Ken Korach's theory. That's coming up next. Also, there's a team having a wild season, and it's a good season, but it is a wild season. And 3, I like it when a manager kicks people in the butt. That's what leaders do. You look at the best coaches all time, best head coaches, best managers. You got to be able to kick people in the butt. But you know who doesn't like it? The former players on TV. We'll talk about it right here. Coming up next on A's Cast Live.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, step up to the plate with Xfinity Internet. Get the fastest speeds and low-lag streaming for an incredible viewing experience that knocks it out of the park. And you'll have a consistent connection with reduced buffering and freezing, so you can stay in all the action inning after inning. When it's game time, make sure to catch it all with internet that's powerful and reliable. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity, because it's only live once. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Many factors affect speed. For factors affecting speed, visit Xfinity.com/network management.
Whether it's a midweek trip to the ballpark to catch a game or a weekend of baseball for the family, grab your tickets for an A's game this season. Secure your seats today for all the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Don't miss out on all the things happening this season.
Rose and Seth. It's a drive into center. It's deep, and Straw is back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
So grab yours now at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Baseball season is officially here, and there's no better time to build your collection of Topps trading cards. Topps packs feature everything from top stars, rookies, game-used memorabilia, and autographs from players around the league, as well as special inserts and surprises. Visit your local hobby shop, retailers, and Topps.com to collect the first product of the season, Topps Baseball Series 1. Follow @Topps on social media to join the conversation and start sharing your collection today.
Hi, fans. This season, Kingsford Capital Management is the official hedge fund sponsor of the Oakland A's. At Kingsford, down to business is their way of seeing the world. Investing has its pitfalls, treacherous chasms of half-truth and despair. Kingsford's mission is to create opportunity through application of proven innovation and entrepreneurial focus with trust, tenacity, loyalty, and growth, establishing a strong reputation as a proven intendant and validated bedrock of American finance. Kingsford Capital, down to business.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
This is Chris Townsend. I'm proud to announce our year 2 partnership with Link Soul. They've changed my wardrobe, and they can do the same for you. And right now, their spring collection is fabulous. Natural fabrics and versatile styles, perfect for this time of the year. And they want to introduce their performance line for golf, premium for on-course apparel design, and to keep you cool and dry. Check it all out, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com. Remember, look good, play good.
With more sunshine returning, it's time to get outside and make the most of what Cinnabar Hills Golf Club has to offer. Like 27 championship caliber holes tucked in the beautiful hills of San Jose. And take advantage of their amazing Bay Area views for your next special event. It's all for you at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club, an award-winning venue designed to peacefully take you away from the bustle of Silicon Valley. Go to cinnabarhills.com. That's cinnabarhills.com.
Being a Chevron car these days has been quite the adventure. Miami to Seattle, ocean to ocean. I've stopped at so many states and collected so many bumper stickers. Sometimes I feel like a moving passport book. It's just so great what I can do with Chevron with Techron, because it gives me unbeatable mileage and keeps my engine clean. Plus, there are so many Chevrons along the way. Now the only thing I'm worried about is where to go next and where to put all my new bumper stickers. Chevron with Techron, fueled by possibility.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
If you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see our friends at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
And the underdogs Oakland Athletics win their first championship since they were in Philadelphia in 1930.
Hi, I'm Raleigh Fingers, Hall of Famer, 3-time World Series champion with the Oakland A's and World Series MVP. Winning takes teamwork, skill, and heart. So when you need an ace for a personal injury lawyer that will win you the game, go with the winning team. Call Venardi Zerata at 833-VZ-FOR-ME or go to vzlawfirm.com. Venardi Serrata, the official injury law firm of the Oakland A's.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
Unlock offers and receive exclusive in-game features by downloading the MLB Ballpark app for iPhone and Android today. Plus, get the latest information on game times, schedules, and more.
Streaming from the studio, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Oh, boy, we got another dust-up between the Titans and the Giants.
That's what Andrew Baggerly of the Athletic is reporting on the anniversary of 7 years ago with Strickland and Harper. Apparently, there's a benches clearing incident between Bryce Harper and Kyle Harrison as a few brushbacks from the lefty.
Were punches thrown?
I'm going to go with probably not. Are there ever punches thrown?
By the way, I'm turning right now. This is still one of my favorite hats.
The spring training one from this year?
As my kids would say, I'm obsessed. Jessica Kleinschmidt, I'm obsessed with this hat.
It looks good.
Can you still buy it?
You might be able to.
New Era? Can you still buy the spring train? So I'm saying you got to get this stuff because it's classic. This hat will be money for years.
I'm not sure if you can still buy it, to be honest. If you are able to, it's probably on our website, or might be able to get it in person in Arizona. Go see Joe Pun.
What do you think? Oh, by the way, we had Jones, we got Skeens, the Pirates, and all their great young pitchers, and a double dip today against Skubal and the Tigers. How's that working out?
Not great. Pirates lost the first game, 8-0. I think the final was. Skubal pitched the first game, unless he was scratched, because
we got a lot of early games today.
Let's see. Game 1, Skubal did pitch. He went. How many innings? Skubal went 7 scoreless innings. His ERA is now down to 2.01.
You got the Dodgers are already beating the Mets 2-0. The Fish are beating the Padres down in San Diego 2-0. Finals. We already got finals. Cardinals are now 12-3 in their last 14. That'd be last 15.
I'll ask you after we got.
They're 500. People are saying they need to rebuild.
I'm going to ask.
They're back from the dead.
I'll ask you this before I ask you about the Mets. Are the Reds the most disappointing team in the National League?
No doubt. They're 24-32. People thought they were going to be not only a contender, but like somebody that could really do something. All the young talent. Yeah, terrible. They're 24-32.
Yeah, they've lost, and they've been really bad. They're like over the last month.
What about the Redbirds? Everybody wanted to bury them. That rebuild. They're 12-3 in their last 15. They're now 27-27. And they're going, hey, Brewers and Cubs. The Cubs are 28-27. Think of how much St. Louis has rebounded. They're right on the Cubs' butt with the Brewers holding strong at 31-23.
Yeah, Goldie's starting to hit for the Cardinals too, which is good. Mason Wynn's been good over his last 2 weeks. I think Arenado's starting to hit a little bit. I mean, they have guys on their offense. It's the pitching that was always going to be the biggest question mark for them, but they've been a lot better lately. And is it Contreras hurt?
Brewers better watch out tonight. That's all I'm saying.
Shota's on the mound.
Imanaga is looking for the best 10-game start. There's some guy that's got a better 10-game start than him.
It's correct. I saw it in the notes.
Pitched in 1913 or something. I never heard of the guy.
I forget his name.
No offense to the guy in 1913 or whatever it is. But the modern day Fernando Valenzuela, Fernando Mania, it's Imanaga Mania. George from San Francisco said, Towny, check the notes. I had him on there because George is our Pacific Rim scout for A's Cast Live and A's Total Access and the Clubhouse Show. And he keeps us updated on Japanese-born players.
Towny.
Imanaga was on his list. Hey, you got to go get him. And he was cheaper. Cubs got him way cheaper than people thought.
Towny.
I'm saying George is on it. How did do I need to introduce David Force to George from San Francisco?
I mean, it might not be a bad idea. I mean,
here's your Pacific Rim scout right here.
I mean, David doesn't listen to me when I give him draft. Maybe he'll listen to George. It was, Irv Lang. Irv Lang had a 1.08 ERA 110 years ago.
1913?
Yeah, it sounds about right, yeah.
You sure? What year was it?
Well, 110 years ago would be 1914. Yeah, 1914.
Who were they at that point?
Lang was a Chicago area native who pitched one season with the Chicago Whales of the Federal League in 1914.
The Chicago Whales, 1914.
Irv Lang. What a name.
The great Irv. Hey, Irv's going today. Can you imagine if we get in a time capsule and put Shota against Irv? That'd be a battle. So, Shota Imanaga, what were you going to – please ask me about the Mets. I would love for you to ask me about the Mets because I made sure I highlighted stuff on the New York Metropolitans today.
I just want to know, they were talking about the Mets, like rebuilding and all that stuff and trading. Who do they have to trade?
The Polar Bear.
That's it. And I heard it earlier. Mike Farron was talking about on Power Alley. His hard hit rate's been going down every year. Are teams really going to want to hit or covet him and want to throw him a ton of money?
Your boy Farron is starting to upset me. These guys on Sirius XM, these guys all over the place, they're getting lazy. We called them out yesterday. It happened with Paul Hembekides from ESPN, who is television personality, radio personality, and top researcher at ESPN, who basically goes, if you looked at the numbers, you could have seen that the A's, by going through numbers, you could have seen the A's were going to be better, and it's just lazy. And now if you're telling me, I know Kate has to say this because these are his players. But if you're going to tell me, and the front office has the same thing, but anybody who has been watching, anybody who has half a brain, if you're telling me, the A's are having to do with these veteran guys on the IL, dude, what are you trying to sell me? A's are not missing at all Ross Stripling or Alex Wood. No offense, two really nice guys. They are not missing them. They have not thrown well for the A's. If you really believe that, but see, they don't believe that because they just don't pay attention. So it's lazy and it's easy to say, they're missing guys. Once again, Kate has to say it because these are his players. Front office has to say it because they signed the guys. But anybody who covers baseball and tells you that the A's, they're dealing with some veteran starters being down, I much rather watch Joey Estes, who's going tonight. I much rather watch Mitch Spence. Mitch Spence, again, was really good yesterday. He had a no-hitter going. You rather watch Ross Stripling than Mitch Spence right now, every 5 days?
Sure. Mitch Spence in his 3 starts, I looked it up. His ERA is a starter, 2.08 now after yesterday.
And what is Stripling's?
That's over 5. He's 1-9. But I remember the argument I was giving for people. Well, he doesn't get any run support. Well, if your ERA is over 5, doesn't matter how many runs you get. You have 1 win.
You got an ERA over 5. Wood's ERA is over 5. I want to see Mitch Spence. I want to see Joey Estes. I'm cool with seeing Muller. Because, once again, I want to win now and build for the future at the same time. Alex Wood and Ross Stripling, I like the idea. I understand the idea. The idea was to bring in some veteran arms. Some veteran arms you can help because you didn't want what happened last year where you're constantly looking around going, who are we going to start today? But you know what? They showed up and they have pitched like they did last year in San Francisco. And what happened in San Francisco last year? They both got sent to the bullpen because they didn't pitch well.
Correct. Remember, and you brought up yesterday about what Marty Lurie said.
Marty Lurie, another Bay Area Radio Hall of Famer who covered both these guys last year with the Giants. So we had Marty and Ken Korach. I'll tell the story again. We had Marty and Ken Korach together. They were in Mesa. We were here, and we had them on. It was super cool because the relationship between, we're talking about Ken Korach being on the list for Ford C. Frick Award, for getting the Ford C. Frick Award. He's a finalist. And you had 2 guys who've known each other a long time talking, and Marty gushing over Ken Korach. And it was towards the end. He goes, hey, Towny, Stripling and Alex Wood, I saw that last year. Good luck. And we laughed. And Marty, so far, is right, as normally the great Marty Lurie is. Marty's a historian of the game. Marty watched him and said, you guys went and got them from the Giants and you're paying them money? Good luck. So if you're going to try and sell me a narrative that we're missing Stripling, the A's are missing Stripling and Wood, you're crazy.
Do you want some good news real quick? To show that we're a global brand? My wife is watching the show at a distillery in Mexico right now.
On her phone?
Yeah.
At a distillery?
Yeah. They're on a tequila trip with my brother-in-law's. My brother-in-law's a tequila influencer, the Tequila Collective. Anyone check him out. That's the one free shameless shout out you get from me, Rob. So they're on a trip to Mexico with a bunch of fans of Rob's. And they're all there. And so my wife said they're watching at the distillery.
In Mexico at a tequila distillery.
I believe they're in tequila, of all places, too.
What possibly could go wrong?
Yeah. She sent me a picture this morning. She goes, oh, nothing like getting up and have tequila for breakfast. It was like 9 a.m. I'm like, oh, God, what's wrong with you?
I did back in the day like tequila. But there is a limit, right? And there's sipping tequila. There's certain tequila that you sip.
Yeah.
And it is really just to be sipping on tequila for a while. There's a limit that your body can take. And I think all of us know that when you pass that limit, when you pass the point of no return, you are in a lot of bad things happen. But tequila can be fun, but tequila is dangerous. And a lot of the bad things in your life, and especially when you're young, happen if you're a tequila drinker.
My brother-in-law got into this voyage a couple years ago as an influencer, and it's just grown. I mean, I'm happy for him, and they're down there. So my wife and I are not big tequila. We don't sip tequila. She's doing it down there, but like you bring a bottle of tequila to my house, like, hey, let's sip this. I'm like, yeah, I'll just drink a beer.
Well, then you can shoot it. You can sip it. Depends how good the tequila is.
Apparently they weren't happy with her because she was shooting the tequila, and they're like, no, you're supposed to sip it.
Yeah. Sip it. Fancier tequila, you want to sip it. Getting back away from your wife boozing it up in Mexico. Mets down right now 2-0 to the Dodgers. And you just said they got no one to trade. What, you don't think anyone wants Lindor's contract?
I'm going to go with no.
Edwin Diaz's contract?
No. Marte, no.
The Mets have the highest payroll in baseball at 32.9 at 329.8 million. I mean, does that resonate with people? They're 22-32. They're about to lose to the Dodgers again today. $329.8 million in salaries.
And some of the guys aren't even on the team anymore.
Yeah, they've had to pay money, get Scherzer out of here, get Verlander out of here. I mean, another bad $300 million contract and Lindor. I mean, wow. Mets have lost 7 of 8, batting .199 with 25 runs scored and being shut out again today at home.
I mean, it's not just the big guys.
And you've got the highest payroll by a lot.
And it's not just the big guys that are struggling. Their most all-around hitter is Jeff McNeil, and he's really having a bad year. I think he's hitting like 229 coming into today or something, somewhere around there, or 225. But what's he hitting now?
Well, you're paying Lindor. He has a $341 million contract. He's hitting 213.
Okay, it's way higher than it was before. It's still not great.
The Polar Bears hitting 231.
Not great.
I mean, you just go down the line. It's terrible.
What's McNeil? Is he
226.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Harrison Bader. He's 273. That's like a batting title on that team.
Oh, whoa. Don't shortchange JD Martinez, one of the Boris guys.
Starling Marte. Remember they signed him 258 with a 693 OPS. He has not played like the Starling Marte that we saw.
You got to let our team had the most hits in a month that Abraham Toro's trying to break.
JD Martinez, another one of the Boris guys. He's got a 722 OPS hitting 269, so he hasn't supplied the punch. So, I mean, we talk a lot of money in our sport. And you got two of the biggest spending guys going at it, and they're like complete opposites. So you can spend a lot of money, doesn't mean you're going to be good at it. And that is hard to believe. Like, how do you get out of that? Like how do you get out of these financial commitments and get better as a team long term? This is the problem when you go all in on financial. The Detroit Tigers did it years ago. They went all in and everybody praised it. Mike Ilitch, the Domino's pizza guy. It wasn't Domino's. Little Caesars pizza guy. The Ilitch family. And they went all in and it just wrecked them. And they didn't end up winning. I mean, at least the Tigers can talk about going to the World Series and having playoff runs. And I mean, what do the Mets have to show for spending all of this money?
It's and like going back to Detroit for a second, the article I read yesterday about like our long-term it just came out. I think it was Clay Snowden who covers Detroit. Put it out about is our long-term contracts good for baseball or something along those lines. And I read it and I'm like, no, all these guys have been really bad. And they talked about how many big contracts Detroit signed over the last like 20 years. You got Fielder, you got give Miguel Cabrera extension, Eduardo Rodriguez, Javier Baez, who's not even
Verlander.
I mean, Javier Baez is a guy that you can't even play anymore, really.
How did the Verlander trade work out for Detroit? Well, we got Cameron.
Yeah. I would say not great. I don't think any of those guys are even playing for them. Was it Franklin Perez? I don't think he ever did anything. And then there was a catcher, Jake Rogers, maybe.
Speaking of your buddy Verlander, we always talk about how much Verlander dominated the A's and how much he's dominated. I mean, he could be on the A's could be on Verlander's Hall of Fame plaque. He's dominated him so much, but not so fast, my friend.
Lee Corso.
Justin Verlander is 10-1 with a 2.98 ERA in 14 starts versus the Mariners since the start of 2019. 10-1. Astros have won 13 of those 14 games. Wow. So it's just not us he's been kicking around all these years.
Well, for the Astros, they need it because they've lost 13 of 18 to the Mariners.
Mariners have dominated the Astros.
Yeah. It's not been great lately for Houston. So I still go back to what Dana Brown said a few weeks ago, and I think it was on MLB Now. We're too good to be sellers. I don't know. I mean, how much longer are you going to keep saying
when
that?
Can we call Johnny D out on his hot take?
I mean,
what did he say they were going to be in? What did he say by June or something like that? Don't you have it?
It was something about them being, let me pull it up. It was something like they'd be 500 again by some point or pushing for first place. I said they would still win the division, but that's not looking great.
Was that a hot take?
That was my first one. Yeah, Astros will win the AL West. When I said it, they were 9-19. Johnny said, Johnny. Astros will go 17-8 in June and be in first.
So he made a prediction about June and May.
Unless he was talking about.
Was he talking about May or June?
I could find out, but either way, they're not going 17-8.
And I think we need to have a replay challenge. We need to, or I need to throw the flag on Johnny's hot take yesterday. Anyway,
I heard it on the TV broadcast as well.
Because I heard the same thing pirated yesterday by Dallas Braden on NBC Sports California. I mean, I don't consult people on my hot takes. Hot takes are not something you consult and talk with people, because Dallas Braden said the exact same thing about Angel Hernandez. Hey, I know it's a hot take. And said the exact same thing Johnny said to us for his hot take. There's no way that Johnny and Dallas did not have this conversation. So are we going to challenge this hot take? Is this even Johnny's hot take? Did he pirate? Maybe, just maybe. Dallas stole it from Johnny. I would not bet that. But did Johnny steal from Dallas and then try and pass that off as his hot take?
It's a great question. We'll have to get to the bottom of this.
So I'm saying I think we need to go to the replay.
Hold on. I'm putting my hand up like Kotze or the challenge.
Go to the phone. Yeah. There's no way. Like Dallas stealing from Johnny or Johnny stealing from Dallas. Yeah. Let's look at it.
Or unless they came up with the hot take together.
Bill Belichick, it's in his sock. Throw the flag. Throw the flag. I'm going to get to the bottom of that. I don't have time today because I got my kids graduating. By the way, our high school graduations, let's just call it, a little overblown these days.
I graduated with 100 kids, so mine didn't take very long. But I'm going to go with probably.
I saw these ladies, this podcast. I thought it was funny on Instagram where the lady said, I'm over it. I'm getting 5-6 invitations every single year. And every mom out there thinks it's like the greatest thing that her little Timmy or Johnny or Sally or Betty is graduating from high school. And I was like wondering, and I have twins, so it's a big deal for us. But it's like, dude, you're supposed to graduate from high school.
So I think college is a bigger deal. Much
no
bigger deal.
doubt.
Because you're paying for that.
No doubt. It's hard to graduate from college. There's a lot of work that has to go into it. There's a lot of studying that goes into it. Are we a little overblown? Just asking. Are we a little overblown on the high school graduations? Big part in your life, obviously. You're now moving on as an adult.
After tonight, ask your kids.
And then how many people's kids still live at home?
I don't know the statistics, but I'm going to go with a lot of kids younger. They might.
So it's not like, oh, they've graduated and they're leaving. No, most people's kids are staying at home these days. So it's not like you oh, my kids graduate and they're leaving. My kids are leaving. They're leaving so far to Berkeley. Right?
It'd be better if you're like, they're going so far. They're going to Santa Clara.
Oh, yeah. They're going down the street to San Jose State or Santa Clara. I mean, you can get to Santa Clara. From my house to San Jose State or Santa Clara is really close. Yeah, my kids are taking that huge leap in life to Berkeley. No, Dad, I got to go up 880. Yeah, uh-huh.
Well, that could take 2 or 3 hours in a
yeah, that is true.
Certain day.
That is true. But, yeah, are we a little overblown on the high school graduations?
We'll have to get a report from them and you after today.
No, it's important. It's just it's invitations, it's parties, it's
the grad parties. I mean, I'm a horrible example. My parents didn't throw a grad party. They're like, you want a grad party or do you want to go on a senior trip that we'll pay for? I'm like, yeah, I'll take the trip.
Oh, I'll take the trip any day of the week.
Then college, they're like, oh, hey, congratulations.
Do you know this weekend? Thank God for my job. There are literally like 7 parties my wife and kids are going to. It's like 7. And I'm going to end up at 2 of them, and I'm basing it on what they're serving. No.
That's actually smart.
So 2 of my really good friends' kids, I'm going to show up to those. But the other ones, I'm like, I hardly know them. I got post-game. We got Braves, because the Braves game on Saturday is going to be at 1 o'clock. So that's allowing me pregame, 12:15?
Is the game at 1 or 1:07?
It's a 1. I don't know. It's 1 something.
We have the list right here. May, June. Where are we at? June. It's 1:10. So that'd be 12:30.
Yeah. So I'll tell my wife for a 12:30 pregame, I got to prep at least 2 hours. Right. I can't go to the morning one because I got to prep. It's pregame. And then post-game, I can dictate the length of the post-game show to stay out of any event that I don't want to go to. Yeah, it's unbelievable. They got like 7 parties to go through this weekend. And doesn't everybody know who has a high school graduate that everybody's going to be throwing parties that they don't coordinate when the parties are? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I am proud of my children.
Yeah.
And I love how people tell me congratulations.
Like I did to you yesterday.
Yeah, congratulations. Well, what the hell did I do?
I haven't told your wife yet, but I'll tell her before I leave. Congratulations.
Congratulations. You didn't do anything. Congratulations. I got them to school. You know what I did? I got them to school the first couple of years before they drove. And I bought them the car then for them to drive to school. That's about it.
Now they're going to drive that car?
I can't even help them with their homework. The stuff that they do, I have no idea. I read baseball notes every day. That's what I do for a living.
There's a lot of math equations in there. Like I was doing math yesterday, figuring out our home run percentage.
What is our home run? Our run scored from home runs is now at?
I think it's 53. I have it right here. 53% of the A's runs come from the home run. So 110 of our runs are hit on the home run, scored via the home run, out of our 209 total.
Coming up next, our national baseball columnist, Eno Sarris, will stop by. 53%. Is this exactly 53%?
Yeah, I think I might have rounded it up.
53% of our runs are scored via the home run. Is that healthy? Is that good? We'll find out next right here on A's Cast Live.
Whether it's a midweek trip to the ballpark to catch a game or a weekend of baseball for the family, grab your tickets for an A's game this season. Secure your seats today for all the biggest matchups, fireworks, drone shows, giveaways, and more. Don't miss out on all the things happening this season.
Rose and Seth. It's a drive into center. It's deep, and Straw is back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
So grab yours now at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Baseball season is officially here, and there's no better time to build your collection of Topps trading cards. Topps packs feature everything from top stars, rookies, game-used memorabilia, and autographs from players around the league, as well as special inserts and surprises. Visit your local hobby shop, retailers, and Topps.com to collect the first product of the season, Topps Baseball Series 1. Follow @Topps on social media to join the conversation and start sharing your collection today.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
Hi, fans. This season, Kingsford Capital Management is the official hedge fund sponsor of the Oakland A's. At Kingsford, down to business is their way of seeing the world. Investing has its pitfalls, treacherous chasms of half-truth and despair. Kingsford's mission is to create opportunity through application of proven innovation and entrepreneurial focus with trust, tenacity, loyalty, and growth, establishing a strong reputation as a proven intendant and validated bedrock of American finance. Kingsford Capital, down to business.
With the sunshine returning, it's time for golf, and more golf at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club. Cinnabar Hills is also your destination for great food with their beautiful renovated restaurant and quality craft beer selection at their full bar. Featuring a grass driving range and 27 championship caliber holes, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club is the best public course in the Bay Area. For more information, go to CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
This is Chris Townsend. There are two things that are a must for me: comfort and style. Whether I'm playing golf, going to dinner, I've got to have the right feel. That's why I've partnered with Linksole, and you're going to love Linksole. They have just released their new spring line, new fabrics for their polos, lightweight and perfect for technical performance. Linksole also has new styles for their layers and hoodies with cool prints and seasonal colors. You know what they say in the big leagues: look good, play good. Go to Linksole.com. That's Linksole.com.
Ever wondered what a 30-foot tall pistachio looks like? A giant redwood or Big Sur? Chevron with Techron will be there to help you see them and tons of other places you have to see to believe. Because with unbeatable mileage and a clean engine, cars feel great. So next time you want to fill up on a little adventure, an awkward family photo, or a new commute to work, make sure to fill up at Chevron's along the way. Your car and your memories will thank you. Chevron with Techron, fueled by possibility.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland, and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding. Love where you sleep.
Introducing Ultimate Speed for Business, our fastest internet plans yet. Now existing customers could get up to triple the speeds at no additional cost, and it's all from Comcast Business.
Get started with internet and security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. In 6/23/24, restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabits per second internet and security edge. EcoBell and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Up to 3 times downloads for existing essential and standard internet customers.
If you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see our friends at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
And the underdog Oakland Athletics win their first championship since they were in Philadelphia in 1930.
Hi, I'm Raleigh Fingers, Hall of Famer, three-time World Series champion with the Oakland A's and World Series MVP. Winning takes teamwork, skill, and heart. So when you need an ace for a personal injury lawyer that will win you the game, go with the winning team. Call Venardi Zerata at 833-VZ-for-me or go to vzlawfirm.com. Venardi Zerata, the official injury law firm of the Oakland A's.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
You're listening to A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
What was that? We were talking legendary Kings coaches.
I said he was the good-looking guy that everybody loved. He was one of the best Kings players. And then he was their head coach, and you're supposedly a Kings fan.
Well, I said
Reggie Theus.
You said good looking. I was like, Musselman?
Not Musselman. When I think Sacramento Kings, there's only one man I think of.
Rick Adelman.
He's a friend.
Gary St. Jean.
Gary St. Jean, former GM and head coach of the Sacramento Kings. Bill Russell was the head coach of the Kings in 87 and 88.
Didn't know that.
I did not know that either. Bob Cousy. This is going back. What were they the same? Were they St. Louis? Where did they come from? Where did the Kings come from?
I forget. Now I'll have to look it up, but we have Eno.
He doesn't know Kings.
He might. Let's see.
Hello, Eno Sarris from The Athletic.
Hello, how are you guys doing?
We are doing well. Ken Korach, the great Ken Korach, who you know, has a question, and he's hoping he has a theory with a couple of guys he was having lunch with yesterday, longtime baseball writers, and he wanted me to throw this past you to see if you agree with it or not.
Uh-huh.
So it's their belief that interleague play has changed baseball dramatically. That back in the day when you didn't have interleague play at all, you played just in the American League, you played just in the National League, that the same hitters and the same pitchers saw each other over and over and over again. So less advantage to the pitcher, to where now, the way we have it, you have a lot of pitchers that will a hitter will only see him one time a year. Is there an advantage to the pitcher now that they used to not have because of interleague play?
That's interesting. Well, I can tell you this. In the course of a game, you've heard of the third time through the order penalty, right?
Yeah.
That the pitcher is worse the third time through the order. The best research that I've seen suggests that it has nothing to do with fatigue, and that you can actually look and see that a pitcher's stuff, the shapes, the velos are across the league about the same the third time through the order. The batters just do better. So the batter is seeing the shapes and getting familiar with those pitchers within one game. Now, I've also seen some research that over the course of a 7-game series, the more often you use a reliever, the more worse he's going to be, because the batters in that 7-game series it's almost like a third time through the order penalty. They've seen that reliever. The third time they see him, they feel very comfortable against him, you know?
No doubt.
So within a game and within a series, what you're saying is totally true, that the more times you see a pitcher, the more comfortable you are with them, the more the advantage goes to the batter. I haven't seen research that proves that's true on the seasonal level, but basically, if batters are seeing pitchers less often, that's an advantage for the pitcher.
Now, what proves that out is recently a conversation we had with Ryan Spielborgs, who does broadcasting, former player, broadcaster for the Rockies, host on SiriusXM MLB Channel 89, where he talked about, because we were talking about the bat speed and the stat cast and the measurement now with the bats. He talked about how the thing for him is it's the rhythm a hitter has against a pitcher. A pitcher and a hitter are like dance partners, and you have better rhythm against better pitchers. And he talked about, he goes, let me tell you a story. And he talked about back in the day when he was at Santa Barbara, Dan Herron was dating a girl up at UC Santa Barbara. So he would come up and work out with them, and Spielborgs would catch his bullpens. And so when Spielborgs finally faced Herron in the big leagues, he said, I caught him so many times. It was so comfortable. I had a good rhythm against Dan Herron. He goes, I didn't have good rhythm against other people, but I did against Dan Herron because he was so familiar with him. There's something to that familiarity that we're talking about that, you look at Mason Miller right now. There's no familiarity with anybody in this guy. And then you start to think, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense.
And one of the big things about modern pitching is, what are some of the things you say? There are no hitters counts, there are no sort of familiar places where you can get to and be like, oh, I think he's going to do this. It's very rare to have a predictive piece of information where you say, oh, he always does this in a certain count. So the work of the modern pitcher is to do everything he can to upset that familiarity, is to throw random pitches and random counts, to do things that are unpredictable. And they know that as an analytics squad. So as any team, if they see something, they start self-scouting too. So teams will scout their own pitchers and say, oh man, why is this guy going to the fastball in 2-0 counts like 75% of the time? That is too predictable. He needs to throw more sliders and this and that in those counts. So, the whole job of the pitcher is to upset that familiarity. So I hadn't thought about that with respect to, just specifically, interleague play, but it's true. Now you have to play everybody. So on some level, you get a little bit more familiar with somebody you might not have seen at all, but you just see them once, right?
Yeah.
So, if they're not even in your league, like how many times are the Giants going to see the Tigers this year? They're going to see them once. So if they saw the Tigers in the postseason, they would have just seen those pitchers once, and they lose the familiarity with, seeing the Diamondbacks pitchers, 19, 25, 26 times.
Well, we think back to the old days, and we've heard all these great stories like Giants and Dodgers, where Willie Mays is talking about how many times he faced Koufax, how many times he faced Drysdale. What do you think is better from a viewing standpoint for the fans, where you see guys play against each other more and familiarity, or this guys like when the A's and Marlins played, no one knew anybody. There was no advanced stats to look at. None of these guys had ever played against each other. What do you think is better for the fans' view?
Yeah, it's probably the more familiar ones. I mean, I guess, let's say if you're a Miamian who lives in Oakland, you're happy if they come once a year or once every 2 years. So, some of it is that novelty where they can sell more Marlins jerseys in Oakland if the Marlins come once every 2 years. So I think there are some positives to that. But one thing I can tell you is, and this may surprise somebody that's listening, but dynasties are good for leagues. Dynasties are good for attendance. Dynasties are good for TV appearances. Dynasties are actually good for TV. As much as we talk about parity and everybody wanting their team to get a chance, what happens with a dynasty is it's the same people on TV every World Series or for a series of World Series. And so there's a bunch of people who start watching. How many people know baseball now because the Braves were always on TBS?
Correct. Yeah.
And just got comfortable with, I can see Maddox, I can see, Glavine and Smoltz. That's how they came into baseball. And so what happens with dynasties is you can love them or hate them. You can hate the Lakers or the Celtics or whatever the dynasty is, but it actually does help if you turn on the TV and you're like, oh, I know Jason Tatum, or I know, Bill Walton, I know these guys. And so you watch to some extent because you're familiar with the game. So if you had more matchups with people that were familiar with each other, there is some benefit to that.
You're talking about Maddox and Glavine. What do you? I'm Gene Garber, Jeff Blauser. Let's talk about. I mean, let's go to some old
I was a
Braves.
big Mark Lemke fan.
Yeah, I'm like looking like back when I was like in high school. Here, I mean, we got to go back. I mean, the only good guy was Dale Murphy. We're talking Bob Horner, Ken Oberfeld.
Well, I started watching in '87 when I came to this country, and so I saw a lot of those names. I saw some of the pain.
Yeah,
I remember Blauser.
You go, Greg Maddox. I follow up with Rick Mailer.
Rafael Belliard.
Those are the guys I was watching when I was in high school. No, it's an interesting point because we haven't had that. I mean, we haven't had that since the Yankees of the late 90s. And we know that, the popularity of what that meant, but we haven't had that with anybody. We saw Toronto win back-to-back.
I mean, the Dodgers are the closest to the current dynasty, or the Astros, and the Astros are problematic because so many people, hate them.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to tell Korach that you gave him thumbs up on the question.
Yeah, it was a really good idea.
All right, you sent me. Oh, first I got to ask you the A's thing. The A's right now are 53% of their runs scored are via the home run. Is this good? Is this healthy? Or is it not? How do you view it?
It's fine. Inside the season, what people have found is that homer happy offenses actually retain more of their offense in the postseason. So were they to make the postseason, being a homer happy offense is good. You win more of the games you homer. It's fine if you get a lot of your offense from homers. The flip side, the only caveat here is that, even if strikeouts are not that big of a deal in terms of, predicting wins, and this might be your next question, we have a list of the things that predict team wins and team offense. Strikeouts are not near the top. You can have a really good offense and strike out a lot. Boston is near the top. They have a pretty good offense. Tampa Bay is near the top. They have a pretty good offense. The thing is, when you get to the postseason, striking out less is a big deal because, and this is what I think is true, and I've seen some evidence on this. Against better stuff, it's better that you can make contact. You know what I'm saying? Like homers, I think sometimes come on bad pitches from bad pitchers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not striking out is a skill that you can take to even the best pitchers. And in sort of old school parlance, like let's say you're going up against Garrett Cole in the World Series, you want to have some people on your team that can shorten up and put the ball in play. If you have a whole team of long swings, strikeout homer guys, Garrett Cole's probably going to carve you up, and you get a solo homer and nobody's on base for him. So strikeout rate matters a little bit more in the postseason than it does during the regular season.
It goes back to that classic line in Moneyball where Brad Pitt, my stuff works in the regular season. It doesn't work in the postseason. And
Oakland is second in strikeout rate right now.
And I think about that, it's like tough. It's like
second worst.
I mean, what must that be like as a front office where, okay, I got something. What we're doing right now is hopefully going to get us to the postseason. But once we get there, we might be screwed because of the way we won in the regular season is not going to work in the postseason.
And I think that led to some things like, the Cespedes for Lester trade, I think that what he tried to do was build teams that would win during the regular season and then use the trade deadline to see if maybe he could patch in that action. Didn't he get Marco Scutaro at the trade deadline? Or did the Giants do that?
That was the Giants. They got from Colorado, right?
Yeah, but Cespedes was kind of a slugger who swung and missed some, and that was. I'm not saying that was a good idea, but I'm just saying I think maybe some of the idea was the trade deadline. We can try and patch this up. It never worked.
Yeah, you talk about like the Red Sox. Yeah, striking out doesn't matter, but all of a sudden when it gets to the postseason, it does. And you sent me the list, and it's a fascinating list that I can't remember the guy that put it together, but he took all the data from 2023 from all the teams, and he came up with the list of the things that are most important for scoring runs, winning games. And I think if you question most people who are into data, do you think most people would have said number one? Well, actually, they're tied at number one. Weighted runs created and WOBA would be the two best.
I think most people would say that in data, but there's still some surprises on the list. I mean, for one, and this is something your listeners have heard when from our show before, is that slugging has crept ahead of OBP. So,
yeah.
OPS is one thing that might surprise people is that OPS is just as good as WRC plus. And the reason why it might surprise some data people is because they get all hung up on the fact OPS is bad math in a way, because you're adding two things in OBP and on-base percentage and slugging. They have different denominators. So if you remember back to your math class, you're not supposed to add things that have different denominators, because OBP is over all plate appearances and slugging is over at bats, not all plate appearances. It's weird to add them together. The weirdest thing is something that tries to do so much harder, so much better at math and WRC plus, like this is supposed to be so much better. It's exactly the same as OPS. So if you want to make a point about how good a team is or how good a player is, OPS is just fine. But if you look at within it, slugging is slightly more important than OBP. And so that's something that I think even we've seen with the A's over time, is that they've become a team that prioritizes slugging a little bit more, or may have fallen behind the times by prioritizing OBP and being kind of passive at the plate. There are other teams that try to be more aggressive at the plate and try to tap into that slugging. And you'll see that with, like, an example is the Twins. They always lead the league in barrels and slugging percentage, and they have a whole idea, which is to go get that ball and hit it into the bleachers.
Was there anything on the list that shocked you?
I think the one where OPS is basically the same as WOBA is interesting. I think it's interesting how high batting average is.
Me too. That was the one thing that drove me nuts. Everybody wants to hate on it. I'm like, look how high batting average is.
Yeah, I mean, like, people talk about X WOBA, this is a fancy stat that's supposed to say how good should this team be given how many line drives they hit and given their exit velos and launch angles. It's supposed to be a really fancy stat. It's basically the same as average.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just weird. And then, the strikeouts is basically not predictive at all. It's at the very bottom. And that's not shocking. It just sort of explains a lot of recent history in baseball.
And I felt bad that the most exciting play in baseball is dead last, triples.
Yeah, I know. I love them so much, and they don't tell you anything.
Do they just not happen enough?
I think so. And I mean, another thing about triples is you didn't have enough power to hit a homer. And then when you think of triples, there's almost always like an element of luck, like a bounce or it split the defenders in a certain way, and the player had to be really speedy. Like, it's homers is more often it's like, okay, that was a homer. It was a homer in 29 out of 30 parks, or whatever. It's like that was a really nice hit. Triple sometimes could look like a little line drive, and it happens to be Esteury Ruiz, and the ball bounces badly one time and he's on third. That's not very predictive.
All right, main question here, and we'll let you go on this. You had 15 little leaguers at the game the other day?
Yeah, that's right.
How was corralling 15 little leaguers at a Major League Baseball game?
It was fun. I had to convince them not to be rude to the Astros. They had all sorts of one-liners they wanted to drop on the Astros, but the Astros were nice. They came over and came and talked. Dallas Braden came and gave my son some pointers on pitching. He showed them the sort of a cradle rocking drill to help him finish his curveball better. We asked each of the players that came over a little advice for the kids because they're in Little League, and we got little snippets here and there. We asked Jordan Alvarez for a hitting drill. He said, "I don't know, man. See the ball, hit the ball."
There you go.
We asked Alex Bregman how to practice diving, and he was like, "The big thing is you have to do it. Like you have to get over your fear of it. You just have to do it." And so I know the guys were all really fun. Zach Gello came over, and the kids were just over the moon. They had a really good time, and really so much thanks out to A's PR, Dallas Braden, everybody that came over and said hi. They felt very welcome, and they had a really good time.
And now that's a day they'll never forget in their life.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they were over the moon on the way home.
All right, buddy, we'll talk to you soon. You be well.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
Eno Sarris from The Athletic, our national baseball columnist. I was just looking at the time. What are we out here pretty soon?
About 10-ish.
10-ish. Okay. I wanted to get to this. Where is it? Where? The most chaotic, wild baseball team going. There's 30 teams. I'll let you guess. You got 30 teams in baseball. Who do you think has had the most Willy Wonka crazy ride through the chocolate factory so far?
I'm going to think here.
30 teams. Dude, I'll make it 29. It's not the A's.
Okay, well, I knew that.
It's not the Marlins. It's not the White Sox, and it's surely not your Mets.
Does it have something to do with this?
It says it's a summer tangy sausage is what it is.
Is it Rocco Baldelli and the Twins?
Give it to me again.
I actually looked at the pack. Summer tangy sausage is what it is. I actually looked at the package yesterday. This like it's bringing us a lot of hits and runs and stuff. So
you have to watch the full video. Rocco's
it's a summer
sausage,
tangy.
The whole video is incredible. His reaction to everything he says is so great.
Friend of the program.
That is true. Rocco is a friend.
I just want to make sure they're not playing. Are they playing? They're not playing right now.
They play the Royals tonight. Seth Lugo's on the mound.
It's a summer tangy sausage is what it is.
It says it's a summer tangy sausage.
Summer tangy, because that's what you think. Tangy, you think summer tangy sausage.
Yeah. I had chicken sausage for dinner last night. It wasn't tangy.
I don't think of summer tangy.
Yeah, no. Not at all. Thanks, Rocco.
There you go, Rocco.
Why are they chaotic, though? Besides them
if you
streaks.
Look at their season, it is unbelievable. And it doesn't matter who it is. It's just who would be doing this. It's not like we care a lot about the Twins. It's just I saw this, and I'm like, I would be a train wreck covering this team. My God. First 20 games, they went 7-13. They averaged 3.4 runs per game, and they had a run differential of -25.
Not great.
Summer tangy sausage. So then we start getting the sausage, right?
Brought them a lot of runs.
So that's the first 20 games. They're 7-13, -25 run differential. The next 20 games, they go 17-3. They hit 27 home runs. They average 6.4 runs per game, and they're now a +52 run differential. They're throwing around the summer tangy sausage.
It says it's a summer tangy sausage.
You might just want to keep the mute button.
This is what it is.
No, there's a sound coming through. That's why I muted.
So we're 40 games in. First 20, they're 7-13, -25 run differential. Next 20, you're 17-3 with a +52. Who are these guys?
Sausage.
All right. Do you think it gets crazier from that?
I'm going to go with yes, because I think they went through a losing streak again.
So after you rally the troops and you're throwing sausages around.
It says it's a summer tangy sausage.
You forget the sausage. You go on the road. Their last 7 games after that, they go 0-7, hit only 4 home runs, have only 1.7 run per game, and they were a minus 33 run differential in 7 games.
That's
getting your ass handed to you night after night.
That's almost losing by 5 runs every night, at least 5 runs, almost.
But wait, it doesn't end there, because then after that 7 games, you went 0-7. You've now rebounded in your last 6 because you got the summer tangy sausage thing going again.
It's a summer tangy sausage.
They're 5-1. They've hit 10 home runs, 4.8 runs per game, and their run differential is plus 11.
It's a summer tangy sausage.
What is going on with these guys?
So you're telling me they're going to finish 81-81?
Well, they're having a good year. I mean, they're 29-24 after their start. Like, after their start,
Yeah.
I'd take that. But don't you think it's crazy? Don't you think it's crazy? First 20 games, 7-13, minus 25 run differential. Then your next 20, you're 17-3 with a plus 52 run differential. Then 7 games after that, you're 0-7. You can't win, and you have a minus 33. You're getting drilled every night.
Can't score.
You're getting drilled. And then the last 6, you're 5-1 with a plus 11. So they've gone minus 25 to plus 52 to minus 33 to plus 11. They are all over the joint.
It's a summer tangy sausage.
Summer tangy sausage.
That's a good drop to keep.
It's awesome.
Again, the whole minute-long clip is great.
Like, I don't think a lot of people realize how crazy the Twins season has been this year.
And a lot of the time, too, like they were playing without Correa. They were playing without Buxton.
Well,
I mean the 2 guys that are always hurt.
Seriously. What, do you think they're going to be Cal Ripken all of a sudden, these 2 guys?
I mean, Kepler was hurt for a while. I mean, they had a lot of guys who were hurt.
Buxton was hurt? No.
They lost Mitch Garver. Well, they lost Garver years ago, but
I mean, seriously, that I saw that today in the notes. I was like, that's insane.
the guy that was great for them last year, besides Sonny Gray pitching-wise, Pablo Lopez, not great this year.
Get my guy Rocco Baldelli back on the show. I can't wait to talk to him about that. By the way, Kansas City is seeking their 35th win of the season. The club didn't win its 35th game last year. Take a guess.
Well, they were 56 and 106 last year, so I'll say July.
35th win for the Kansas City
August.
Royals that they're trying to get today. They're 34 and 21. Last year, the Kansas City Royals won game 35 on August 3rd.
That's not good.
This right now is one of the great turnarounds in baseball history.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to look to see because what A's have.
When did we win our 35th game last year?
Well, no. How many wins do we have? We have 23 wins now.
We have 23.
We didn't win our 23rd game last year until. Well, I'm still scrolling. We didn't win our 23rd game until July 1st last year.
When did we win game 35?
That would be.
They were August 3rd.
August 21st.
August 21st. Wow.
They only won 6 more games than us last year.
Wow.
And they went out and spent the most money in the American League and in the free
It's kind of
agency.
telling you how much. It's really kind of telling you, like the Royals for sure, the A's, you can really change things around pretty quick. Like, what if the A's went on a hot streak and next thing you know, you're looking, you're getting closer to 500 and you're like, well, man, you didn't win your 35th game till August when?
What did I say? It was 21st. It was August 21st.
When did we win game 24?
July 1st.
July 1st. That could be today in May.
Yeah, not even the end of May. Well, end of May, not even the final day of the month. Remember, we had 5 shutouts all of last season. We have 5 already this year, and 4 of them are on the road.
Did you hear about Bruce Bochy winning the Arby's eating contest?
I did. Baseball Reference did a funny thing. I saw it on X yesterday. They took the guy that runs Baseball Reference, put it. He goes, "This needs to be on there," and it said Manager of the Year. Then it said Arby's Eating Challenge or something.
I
like
agree.
That. Yeah.
I mean, if you can take down an Arby's sandwich in one bite,
It's impressive. There's not a lot of Arby's around here anymore. We had the pitcher a couple years ago. It was a Tanner Roark. He was a big Arby's guy. Remember, he wanted like an Arby's sponsorship.
I only bring that up because Rangers are the battle of the World Series. I think Eno's onto something there. Rangers 6, D-backs 1. Because you can't explain it, right? You know the ratings aren't going to be great, and you're like, well, it's not the Northeast. But it's like, wait a minute. Arizona, the Phoenix metropolitan area, and the Dallas Metroplex, these are two of the largest television markets in the country. You can't say that these are small market teams based on how big their TV market is. And yet it didn't obviously get good ratings. I mean, when the Giants were winning the World Series 3 times, those ratings were not good. We like to think of ourselves as a big market.
Yeah, and one of them was against Texas, and that's a big market. That's 2 top 10 markets again when they played in 2010.
So they played Kansas City. Who was their other one against?
The Detroit.
Detroit's a big market.
And then obviously Texas in 10. So 2 of the 3 were big markets.
All right, what time we got to be out?
Now.
This was fun. I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's a big deal for you tonight. So
congratulations to my kids. We're graduating from high school tonight. They're not off the books. They're now really getting on the books.
Yeah, you got 4 more years unless they want to go to.
Oh my God.
They get a master's or a law degree.
Oh my God.
My best friend from back home is a doctor. It only took him like 10 years.
No, I can't even imagine. Great show today. Ken Korach was on the program, and the great Eno Sarris joined us. I hope you enjoyed. We are off tomorrow, back Friday at what time?
1 o'clock. Mark Kotze, CJ Nikowski will be on with us.
CJ, our old friend we miss CJ.
Braves broadcaster CJ Nikowski now.
That's so odd.
I know.
It is so odd. And we got Kotz. Anything else?
We'll see what else we can pull in.
All righty. A's, with a win tonight, can make this their 8th series victory. Last year, they only won 12. Wow. A's baseball, A's and the Rays next, right here on A's Cast and the A's Radio Network. This is Chris Townsend. I'm proud to announce our year 2 partnership with Link Soul. They've changed my wardrobe, and they can do the same for you. And right now, their spring collection is fabulous. Natural fabrics and versatile styles, perfect for this time of the year. And they want to introduce their performance line for golf, premium for on-course apparel design, and to keep you cool and dry. Check it all out, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com. Remember, look good, play good.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Being a Chevron car these days has been quite the adventure. Miami to Seattle, ocean to ocean. I've stopped at so many states and collected so many bumper stickers. Sometimes I feel like a moving passport book. It's just so great what I can do with Chevron with Techron, because it gives me unbeatable mileage and keeps my engine clean. Plus, there are so many Chevrons along the way. Now the only thing I'm worried about is where to go next and where to put all my new bumper stickers. Chevron with Techron, fueled by possibility.
Baseball season is officially here, and there's no better time to build your collection of Topps trading cards. Topps packs feature everything from top stars, rookies, game-used memorabilia, and autographs from players around the league, as well as special inserts and surprises. Visit your local hobby shop, retailers, and Topps.com to collect the first product of the season, Topps Baseball Series 1. Follow @Topps on social media to join the conversation and start sharing your collection today.
This has been a presentation of the Oakland Athletics.